Doomsday has finally come. And let me tell you, Doomsday is here and the script is out. Because I cannot believe what I just saw at Laurie Vallow's hearing. I am so angry at this woman's entitlement, grotesque privilege, and how her lawyer or her attorney can sit there and say how she's been a model prisoner when this woman has had two dead bodies in her husband's backyard that she knew about for months, lied about, tried to evade. It just makes me so angry, the level of privilege that this woman has had and how much she's been allowed to get away with. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. But it seems like it's very possible that she could get away with some of what she's done. And I cannot believe those bodies were found on June the 9th. And yet we are here in July, well into July. Doomsday has come and she still has not been slapped with murder charges. I hope by the time I publish this episode that she's going to be charged with murder. And if she's not, I'm going to be exceptionally angry. I think that this woman, Laurie Vallow, is diabolical. I think that there's only a handful of women that belong in her category. Carla Homolka's one. Rosemary West is one. Myra Hindley's one. She is just pure evil. And yet she was able to have bail and have her bail reduced. That just makes me beyond angry. I think this woman has had the most privilege that I've ever seen of a defendant. And the fact that we are here 5 weeks later and she hasn't been charged with murder just proves that what I've been saying all along is right. She's had the most privilege. She's had a grotesque amount of privilege and she continues to get away with it. 5 weeks after these bodies were found in her husband's backyard, we still don't have murder charges for Laurie. Now, in terms of the police performance, I give their performance 2 out of 10. And the only reason why they get any points at all is because they eventually found those 2 children after months and months. They were able to get lucky and find the digital footprint of Alex Cox. I think the police have been slow. I think they've been asleep at the wheel. I think they've been sloppy. I think they didn't investigate Charles' murder properly. And she was able to get away with that murder. But I also think that she had a hand in her ex-husband's murder as well. I think Tylee's father was probably knocked off by Laurie and her brother. You know, if they had done a proper investigation into Charles Vallow's murder after his many cries for help, they would have seen that this woman has a sinister pattern. They would have seen that she has a previous husband that died under suspicious circumstances. But they didn't care. They did not care. They let her get away with it. And she's continued to get away with it. And now let me tell you, if I was in Laurie's position and I'd done everything that she'd done, I would have been hit with murder charges by now. I can tell you that. And anyone I know would have been hit with murder charges. So the fact that this woman, we all know that she's a liar. We all know that she had a hand in her children's murder. She might not have actually physically done it, but she was probably the mastermind, or at least a co-conspirator. And the fact that we are now 5 weeks on and she hasn't been charged with any murder at all. Even if she gets charged today, the next day, tomorrow, the fact is 5 weeks have gone since those kids were found and she hasn't been charged with murder. How is that even possible? It's pure privilege, because that would never be the case if I was in her position. Now, there's some court documents that have been released online and I want to talk about that. And it doesn't put it doesn't put Charles Vallow in a very good light. And I just want to say we have got to stop re-victimizing victims. Charles Vallow was obviously not a perfect human being. It doesn't matter. I don't care if he had a contentious divorce or custody battle with his first wife. Lots of people have contentious custody battles with their wives and have problematic relationships and marriages. The fact of the matter is, Charles Vallow is a victim. He has nothing to do with these murders, and he should have gotten the help that he was crying for. And the police were so incompetent that he didn't get the help that he rightly deserves. And basically, I'm just going to say that she has gotten away with killing him, because even though Alex killed him, he's now dead, so he can't be charged. So Alex has gotten away with it, and Laurie has basically gotten away with it, as far as I'm concerned. Um, I remember listening to another guy on YouTube. I actually am a fan of him, but I'm not going to mention his name because I don't mention other channels. I don't think it's fair whether I say something good or bad. And this particular guy, he said that he wouldn't be surprised if Melanie Pulowski was hit with murder charges, and he expects to see murder charges for Chad and Laurie coming very swiftly. And it's very interesting and ironic that we're now 5 weeks after those kids were found in the backyard, and there still haven't been murder charges. And like I said, even if murder charges were to come today, say they even came yesterday, it's still far too long for them to have found those bodies and for Laurie and Chad not to be charged. And like I said, we have got to stop re-victimizing victims. Just because someone is a victim doesn't mean they're perfect. I'm sure Charles had many, many flaws, but he deserved to be heard, and he deserved to have his murder looked into. And Laurie, Alex should have been charged with that murder. And they just got away with it because the police are incompetent. They're completely incompetent. They've been slow and incompetent with this case. They've been asleep at the wheel. And Laurie has just been able to sit smugly during her hearing with a mask on her face, with that sense of and an air of entitlement that I actually quite find quite offensive. And I just think it's a complete and utter disgrace that we are here so long after those kids were found, and still there have been absolutely no murder charges whatsoever. The charges that she faces, or that she faced during the hearing, that she was facing during the hearing, are very, very low level charges in terms of what sentence you would get if you were going to do a prison sentence. And that just shows you how incompetent the police have been. They've been incompetent. They haven't done a good job. They've been sloppy. And, I'm going to go back to these court documents about Charles Vallow, but I'm not going to go into detail about them too much. It's pretty clear that there was some level of dysfunction in the family, in terms of Laurie Vallow. But I think Laurie Vallow is the ultimate manipulator. I think there's nothing that she says that anyone can take as truth. I think she is a manipulative person, and everything is for her own gratification, for her own gain. She just doesn't care about anyone but herself. And she is just got she's the dark spirit. She wants to talk about other people being dark spirits. She is a dark spirit. She has no compassion. She has no empathy. She has no conscience. And she is not just a narcissistic sociopath. She is pure evil. And if she's not charged with murder, and if she doesn't get what I think she deserves, which is ultimately life in prison, or the alternative, I'm going to be extremely angry, and I'm already angry. Like I said, the police have done a very crap job of this case, and the fact that we're still here all these weeks later and neither of them being charged with murder is a disgrace. It is a complete and utter disgrace and a failure of the system that this woman has been allowed to manipulate, stir the pot, do everything for her own gain and for her own gratification. And she's just allowed to continue to game the system, manipulate people, and do whatever she likes without suffering extreme consequences. Today was supposed to be the day that the world was supposed to end, gathering of the 144,000. But I think it should be a day where we remember the victims: Tylee and JJ, Charles Vallow, Tammy Daybell. Those people perished because this woman is heartless, cold, selfish, pure evil. And justice still hasn't come for those victims. And even if it ever does come, it's just too long, and it's too late. You know, the police haven't taken this case seriously. They haven't done a good job. They've been asleep at the wheel. They've been sloppy. They've been slow, just so slow. And what she's been able to get away with, and what I think she continues to get away with, the fact that she was able to the fact that she's even allowed to have bail with 2 dead kids and other pending cases, it just goes to show you she's privileged. She is completely privileged. She's been afforded privilege. She's like a pampered princess in jail. So that's all I have to say right now. But I'm really angry. I'm just absolutely furious at what she's gotten away with. So until next time, I'll keep an eye on things.